The first time Sophia stepped into the grand ballroom, her heart pounded so loudly she was certain someone would hear it over the music. Crystal chandeliers shimmered above like frozen stars, and laughter echoed through the polished marble halls, but none of it touched her. Because tonight wasn't just another party, it was the moment she would meet the people who could either accept her, or break her completely. And as she adjusted the simple, worn-out dress she had carefully chosen, hiding the truth of who she really was, she had no idea that the night would unravel everything she thought she understood about love, pride, and family. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of seeing beyond appearances, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that touch the heart. Sophia Carter had spent years building a life that most people could only dream of. She was the quiet owner of a fast-growing tech company based in Seattle, a woman who had risen from nothing after losing both her parents at a young age. Her success wasn't loud or flashy. She didn't crave attention. Instead, she lived simply, almost invisibly, choosing to invest her wealth into helping others rather than showcasing it. But when she met Jacob Reynolds, a kind, grounded man who worked as a high school counselor, her world began to shift in ways she never expected. Jacob loved her for who she was, not for what she had, and for the first time, Sophia allowed herself to believe in something deeper than ambition. Yet, there was one thing Jacob didn't fully know, just how wealthy Sophia truly was. And when he invited her to meet his parents at a lavish family gathering in New York, she made a decision that would change everything. She chose to pretend she was poor. It wasn't a game. It wasn't manipulation. It was fear. Sophia had seen too many people change when they discovered her success. Some became greedy, others distant, and a few resentful. She wanted to know if Jacob's family could accept her without the influence of money. So she borrowed a modest dress, left behind her luxury car, and arrived at the party as someone far simpler than she truly was. From the moment she entered, she felt the difference. The Reynolds family was wealthy. Old money, polished and proud. Women in designer gowns whispered behind manicured hands, while men in tailored suits exchanged measured smiles. Sophia stood out immediately, not because she was trying to, but because she wasn't. At first, Jacob's mother, Margaret Reynolds, greeted her with a polite but distant smile. Her eyes scanned Sophia from head to toe, lingering just a second too long on the worn fabric of her dress. It wasn't cruel, not openly, but it was enough. Enough for Sophia to feel the invisible wall rising between them. As the evening progressed, that wall grew thicker. Conversations drifted around her, often excluding her entirely. When she did speak, her words were met with brief nods or quickly redirected topics. A few of Jacob's relatives asked subtle questions, where she worked, what her parents did, where she lived, and each answer only seemed to lower her value in their eyes. Sophia had prepared herself for this, or so she thought. But preparation didn't soften the sting of being quietly dismissed. Jacob, unaware of the full weight of the situation, tried to include her, holding her hand gently, smiling reassuringly. But even he couldn't fully bridge the gap that his family had already created. And as the night wore on, Sophia began to feel something she hadn't felt in years, small. There was a moment, near the center of the evening, when Margaret gathered a few guests and began speaking about the importance of maintaining standards, her voice carrying just enough for Sophia to hear. It wasn't direct, but it didn't need to be. The implication hung in the air like a shadow. That was when something inside Sophia shifted. Not anger. Not humiliation. Clarity. She realized that this wasn't just about her pretending to be poor. It was about who these people truly were when they believed no one of importance was watching. And what she saw broke her heart, not for herself, but for Jacob. Because he was nothing like them. As the night reached its peak, an unexpected moment changed everything. A commotion near the entrance drew attention. A well-known business investor had arrived unexpectedly, someone whose presence immediately commanded respect. Conversations hushed, and heads turned. Sophia felt a strange stillness settle over her as she recognized him, Michael Grant, one of her company's largest partners. Their eyes met across the room. And in that single second, everything she had tried to hide came crashing down. Michael's face lit up with genuine surprise and respect as he made his way toward her, greeting her not as a stranger, but as someone he deeply admired. His voice carried across the room, praising her work, her leadership, and the impact she had made across multiple industries. The silence that followed was deafening. Every eye turned to Sophia again, but this time, it was different. The same people who had overlooked her now stared in disbelief. Margaret's expression froze, her carefully constructed composure cracking under the weight of realization. Whispers spread rapidly, shifting in tone from dismissal to astonishment. Sophia stood there, still in her simple dress, unchanged in appearance, but suddenly seen. And yet, something had already broken. Jacob looked at her, confusion and awe mixing in his eyes. He hadn't known. Not fully. And while there was no anger in his gaze, there was something else, something fragile. Sophia could have explained everything in that moment. She could have justified her choice, defended her reasons. But instead, she simply smiled softly, a quiet sadness behind her eyes. Because the truth was, the test had already been completed. And the results were clear. The rest of the evening unfolded in an entirely different tone. People approached her with forced warmth, conversations suddenly inclusive, compliments flowing as if they had always been there. But Sophia felt none of it. Because kindness that arrives only after status is revealed isn't kindness, it's convenience. Later that night, as the crowd began to thin and the music softened, Sophia stepped outside into the cool New York air. The city lights shimmered in the distance, but her heart felt heavy. Jacob followed her shortly after. He stood beside her in silence for a long moment before speaking, his voice quiet but honest. He admitted that he didn't understand everything, but he understood enough. He saw what his family had done. He saw how they had treated her. And he wasn't proud of it. Sophia looked at him, her eyes soft but searching. She told him that she hadn't lied to hurt anyone. She had only wanted to be accepted for who she was without the influence of wealth. But more importantly, she wanted to know if she could belong in his world. Jacob's answer came not in grand words, but in quiet truth. He said that his world didn't have to be defined by his family's expectations. That he was willing to build something different, something real, with her. And for the first time that night, Sophia felt a sense of peace. Because while she couldn't change his family, she had found something far more valuable, someone who saw her beyond everything else. Before we reach the end of this story, if this moment touched your heart, if you've ever felt judged for who you are, or where you come from, take a second to like this video, leave a comment, and share your thoughts. Your voice matters more than you think. And one special request, comment below with the word kindness if you believe people should be valued for their hearts, not their status. In the weeks that followed, things didn't magically become perfect. Relationships take time, and trust even more so. But Margaret Reynolds, faced with the truth of her actions, began to change, slowly, quietly. Not out of obligation, but out of reflection. Sophia never demanded acceptance. She simply remained who she had always been, kind, humble, and real. And in the end, that was what made the biggest difference. Because sometimes, the greatest wealth isn't what you have, but how you treat those who have nothing. And sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do, is show the world who they are, without fear of what it might reveal.